So let's just have a fun conversation about poop.
Great. Yes,
Okay,
yes.
because how else does one really talk about this? It strikes me in our trying to report this story, photograph this story, and write about it, that one of the big issues is it's a hard thing to talk about for a lot of people.
This is a problem that largely has been solved in our country for 100 years, and so it's very hard to kind of clear that first hurdle of just raising awareness. You know, in the developing world, a case of diarrhea is life-threatening, and you know, whereas if it happens to one of our kids, maybe they miss a day of school.
So the world is full of all of these great causes, important causes. Why this issue?
I think for me, as I started to look at issues of extreme poverty and wanted to get involved, water and sanitation it was like it undergirded everything. It was just so massive, and I didn't hear anybody talking about it. And then as I learned about it, it's just endlessly fascinating and vastly complex, and there's no kind of one silver bullet that's going to fix it. And so what happens a lot of times is we'll start with a water loan. They're fronted the money because they're already paying for water on a daily basis. They're paying to use a public bathroom, right? They're paying every day to do that. And so if you loan them the money, it actually works out to be about the same thing that they're paying. And then within a couple years, they're free and clear, and they've got water in their house, and they've got a latrine.
So you talked about when you go to India and you hear these people and their stories are moving. What kind of stories are they telling you?
This was probably 5 years ago, but this was in Haiti. We had helped bring water to this village that hadn't had it, and this young 13-year-old was no longer going to have to scavenge for water and go on these water collections. And she was putting in 3 to 4 hours a day. I said, what are you going to do with all this extra time? You're going to have more time for homework. And she looked at me like, she goes, I don't need more time for homework. I'm the smartest kid in my class. So I was just like, all right, hot shot. Well, what are you going to do with this extra time? And she looked at me and she said, I'm going to play.
Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah, and it just buckled me because I went, you know, like these kids shouldn't be burdened with these things, you know, and this extreme poverty is this tremendous burden, and whether you're scavenging for water or whether you're a little girl who's waiting for it to get dark so that you can go out and defecate, you know, and put yourself at risk, you know, because that's a whole other aspect to it, is there are these, you know, predatory men who are waiting for these girls. Those kids should be playing. That's what they should be thinking about. That's what our kids think about.
So the UN, I think, has tried to say that by 2030 they want to make it you know, a goal to really not have open defecation. Do you think there's any way that, you know, the world could come close to that?
Definitely. By 2030.
That's only 13 years.
I know, but I think it's happening so rapidly. And, I mean, in the last 2.5 decades, 2.5 billion people have been lifted out of poverty. So we're really trending in the right direction, and we'll continue to do so. And then in terms of engaging, there are all levels of engagement, whether it's, you know, donating, or, you know, you can go to water.org, and there are multiple ways you can donate and help. I think the takeaway for me is because our loan programs are what we call water credit has been working so well. It's a very positive experience, and that's what I would want your readers to know, is that there are these solutions that work.